your best choice. BEFM, 부산영어방송.
Coming up next is 2 p.m. Reboot with Casey McKeever. BEFM, 부산영어방송.
Leadership skills are essential for business executives to be able to make thoughtful decisions about their organization's mission and goals. And they also need to properly allocate resources to achieve these goals, right? Valuable leadership skills include the ability to delegate, inspire, and communicate effectively. Other important leadership traits also include honesty, confidence, commitment, and creativity. Does any one person actually possess all of these leadership skills? Well, today we're going to talk about business leaders who changed the world. It's Monday, September 2nd. This is the 2 p.m. Reboot. Let's get it started. Welcome to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just heard the song Good Times by Chic. And in case that song sounded familiar, it's been used a lot in many other records. That song was built around Bernie Edwards' distinctive bass line and is one of the most copied and sampled records ever. If you had 2 copies of the record way back in the day, DJs would actually create a continuous loop of that instrumental groove. And you know what? People could do right over that, rap right over it. And actually, that was what was going on in New York right around the time that song was released. Rap was starting to emerge at New York block parties. And somebody named Sylvia Robinson assembled a group called the Sugar Hill Gang to put a rap song on record. And they used that song, Good Times, for the backing track. And they looped it in the studio just like DJs did at block parties. Even like you could hear parts of the string hits where they come in the song as well. And the resulting song was called Rapper's Delight, which was released later in 1979. Fantastic year, by the way. Many good things came out of that year. It sold a bunch of 12-inch singles and made the U.S. Top 40 and UK Top 10, becoming the first rap song to do so. And actually, as I was listening to Good Times by Chic, I was thinking of the Rapper's Delight lyrics in my head. I said a hip hop. You know how it goes. You're listening to us live in the studio here in Busan on this Monday afternoon. Welcome to the program, everyone. You're listening to us on BEFM 90.5 in Busan and 103.3 FM in the Gijang, Jeongwon, and Noksan areas. In Seoul, we're on TBS EFM 101.3 FM, and in Gwangju, we're on GGN 98.7 FM. And thanks for joining us wherever you might be on this Monday. The weather's getting a little bit strange. I don't know. It's kind of overcast. Still hot, though. Still hot. And speaking of hot, you know what's burning up YouTube right now? We are. If you go to youtube.com and search BEFM or Busan you can find us broadcasting right there, right now. I do want to let you know there is a music copyright issue, so we will not be able to stream the music as we're doing it live here on the FM. So unfortunately, that will be muted on YouTube. And we apologize for the inconvenience. But of course, the show will be completely uninterrupted on FM radio. And if you're interested, we have our very own smartphone app. If you go to the App Store on your phone and just search BEFM or 부산영어방송, you can download the app and listen to us wherever you go. And you can also comment and send us messages throughout the show if you like. You could say anything you want. You could say, for example, good afternoon, it's September. Sure, I love that. It is September. And it came quickly this year. Wow, it definitely creeped up. And you know what? I should make an announcement. Because we are now in September, I do want to let you know this is the last week of the 2 p.m. reboot. The 2 p.m. reboot will be on air until Sunday, September 8th. It means the show will end in 6 days. So we got a 6-day countdown going on here. Beginning on September 9th, on Monday, a new program will be launching after the fall change of season for BEFM here. So this September 6th, the Friday, this will be the last live show. And September 8th, the Sunday, that'll be our last highlight show for the 2 p.m. reboot. So just wanted to let you know. Thanks, everybody, for joining me throughout the summer. I've enjoyed spending my summer with you, and I'm going to enjoy this last week as well, for sure. We've got a lot coming up on the show for you today, as we do every day. In hour number 1, we've got Hot Off the Press coming up. We're going to play 2 songs that have recently been released and give you some background information about the tracks and the artists behind them. And also, because it's Monday, Chris comes in on Monday for Need to Know, and Chris will be bringing in some stories that are perhaps not what you see in the headlines and the mainstream media, perhaps a little bit under the radar, but nonetheless, things that we need to know, and they're always interesting. That's the key part, right? Interesting things that Chris shares with us every Monday. In hour number 2 in the show, we're going to have our daily list. And today's daily list, if you caught the intro to the show, I was talking about leadership skills that people need if they want to be top business leaders, right? Like myself. Perhaps. Not yet. I haven't got those leadership skills yet. But we're going to talk about in the daily list business leaders who changed the world. And these are people who probably possess a lot of those very important leadership skills. Am I jealous? No, I'm not. I'm just, I'm going to be admiring. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to admire because there are plenty of people to admire out there, not to be jealous of, right? And because it is Monday, we've got Me, Myself, and I every Monday. We're going to talk about why people are so resistant to change. Interesting. Does that have anything to do with the announcement I made today? Change is good, right? Sometimes, change is good, especially the change of seasons, whether they be throughout the year, the weather, or throughout the radio. There's always a change of season as well. And, change is good, right? So, but the question is, why are people so resistant to change? And I have that issue as well. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want things to change, but sometimes they need to, right? So we'll talk about that with me, myself, and I today. And today we'll have our perfect playlist. We do this every week. We've got songs based on a theme at the end of the show. This week, the new semester to motivate you. And I just started my new semester today with my students. And they actually motivated me because they were very cool and very fun and very cooperative. And many came in on time. I like that as well. That's one of those skills everybody needs, being on time, right? Hopefully that's not a culturally biased sentiment. But yes, I think a lot of teachers appreciate it when you're on time. And of course, I will be checking your messages throughout the show. So feel free to shout out how you're doing today. Let me know how your Monday is, how your weekend was. My weekend was busy. I don't even remember what happened over the weekend. I think I was busy preparing for today. So I can't remember exactly what happened, but I'm sure it involved a lot of time on my laptop computer. Gross. Not the best weekend, but sometimes that's the way it goes, right? I do have a question of the day for you, too, if you'd like to chime in on this. My question is, when did you personally experience being a leader? 언제 리더를 경험해 보셨나요? And I'm actually experiencing this right at the moment. I volunteered to be a quote-unquote leader for a group of our colleagues at work, at school, and it's hard. Yeah, making decisions, especially when you feel like you're making them on behalf of other people. Sometimes you feel like, oh, am I making the right decision? And you kind of question yourself, and you kind of wonder like, oh, is this the right thing to do? But you kind of have to just make decisions sometimes, right? Not so easy being the leader. Some people love it. Some people loathe it. Some people would rather not be the leader ever. I'm somewhere in the middle. In some cases, I enjoy it. And in some cases, being the leader is not easy for sure. If you'd like to reach us here and let me know how you're doing today and if you've ever experienced being a leader, you can text us at 샵9050 or pound 9050 for 101. You could reach us for free on Kakao Talk if you search BEFM or Busan 영어방송. You can add us there and send us messages. And also, as I mentioned before, you can reach us on the smartphone app if you download it on your app store. And you can also reach us for free. Oh, yeah, of course. I should give a shout out to the NoTube chat. You can reach us for free that way, too. And I'll be happy to check your messages. And yeah, let me know if you've ever experienced being a leader and did you enjoy it? That's the question, really, right? Did you actually want to be a leader? Would you like to do it again? Because it's not the easiest job sometimes, right? And I do want to let you know there still is a heat wave warning in effect in most parts of the country. So please avoid outdoor activities as much as possible. If you do go out, wear light clothing, wear a wide-brimmed hat, and carry a water bottle with you. If you're at construction sites, make sure to strictly adhere to heat safety rules. Be sure to get enough water, shade, rest, and actively implement heat wave break times during the hottest hours of the day. And thoroughly prepare for the heat wave. Be sure to drink enough water and have short breaks whenever possible. And if you do have symptoms such as dizziness, nausea, or a headache, be sure to find a cool place to take a rest. With that being said, everybody be careful out there on this Monday afternoon. And we're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to How Can This Be Love by Andrew Gold. And we'll be back with Hot Off the Press. welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just heard How Can This Be Love by Andrew Gold. And I got a couple messages real quick I just wanted to share. Timo Nim on the NoTube there apparently joining us for the first time today. Thanks for joining us. And don't be sad. It's okay. There will be a new program starting September 9th. Yeah, so enjoy this week, and we'll have more high-quality programming for you next week as well, right? It's all good. And thanks for joining us from Seoul. Cool. A couple shout-outs from Seoul today. I appreciate that. So thank you very much. Right now it is time for Hot Off the Press. We do this every Monday through Friday. We bring you two of the newest and hottest tracks from around the world of music. And we know there's a lot of music to keep up with out there. I have a very hard time with it myself. So we try to pick two songs every day that we think you'll really enjoy. And first up is a name that I'm well familiar with. Two names I'm well familiar with, as it were. The first song is called I'm Not the Only One by Sam Smith and Taeyeon. 신기하죠? Sam Smith has released a brand new version of his 2014 hit single, I'm Not the Only One, which I've definitely heard that song before, but now it features K-pop singer Taeyeon of Girls' Generation. And this re-recorded version of I'm Not the Only One with Taeyeon also features brand new Korean lyrics during the first verse and the first half of the bridge, I guess. And the two pop stars then come together for the final chorus. I'm excited. I'm curious to hear how this is going to sound. Our second song for today is Finally by Swedish House Mafia and Alicia Keys. This is like Team Up Day, Team Up Monday. The iconic trio that is Swedish House Mafia released their brand new single today, linked with the uber-talented Alicia Keys on this song called Finally. And the track is a reimagined version of Kings of Tomorrow's timeless classic song, also called Finally. Oh, interesting. So two songs today featuring, collaborations, but also kind of featuring remakes, huh? So the remake first came together around 2 years ago and has since gathered worldwide interest as Swedish House Mafia have played it in their live sets. And now we get to hear the single version here in the studio today. Awesome. So our two songs today on Hot Off the Press. First up, I'm Not the Only One by Sam Smith and Taeyeon, followed by Finally by Swedish House Mafia and Alicia Keys. You're listening to the 2 p.m. Reboot, and that last song was Finally by Swedish House Mafia and Alicia Keys, and I felt like I was in a club a little bit there, especially at the end. The song before that you heard was I'm Not the Only One by Sam Smith and Taeyeon, and those were our two songs for Hot Off the Press today. Hope you enjoyed those, and I'm getting a bunch of messages. Oh, don't be sad. Don't be sad. I got a message from 1437M who says, it's sad that this week is the last of your show. I should say I'm a big fan of this lovely show. Lovely. Oh, touching me right here, right here. It's not only entertaining, but also very informative and educational to a large extent. Your warm-hearted and humble attitude towards guests and listeners has also been significantly touching and memorable. Thank you so much. I've never considered myself neither warm-hearted nor humble. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. That's really kind. I appreciate it very much. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this summer show that I've got the chance to spend with you as well. You know, I feel lucky every day I come in here and get to talk to people. This is fun for me. Let's see. One more message I really wanted to share really quick. Jogumtongnim saying on the NoTube chat there, not being resistant to change. I just like this show very much. That's because I mentioned before. Later in the show, we're going to talk about why people in general are resistant to change. So, Jogumtong, also thank you for liking the show. And thank you for your comment about the question of the day. My question was, when did you experience being a leader? 언제 리더를 경험해 보셨나요? Jogumtongnim saying, I was once president of the student council. I didn't intend to be a leader, but some things had to be done. You know what? Sometimes somebody's got to step up, right? I tried to implement necessary changes and got lots of support and help from fellow students. Cool. You know what? That sounds like a great experience then. Like sometimes you don't want to be the leader, but you see that somebody has to kind of step up and do something. And then if you get support while you're doing that, that's fantastic, right? So that sounds like an overall very good experience for you. So awesome. And that is my question of the day. So if you want to reach us here, send us messages at 샵9050 or pound 9050 for 101. Or you can reach us for free via the Kakao Talk app or our very own smartphone app or NoTube. You can reach us there. If you want to find us, search BEFM or 부산영어방송 on all of those, and you can find us very easily there. And we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back with Chris and Need to Know. Okay, that music just made me a little sad. Is this the last time I'm going to hear this signal? Because that is my favorite. That's my favorite segment music that we play. Chris, welcome to the studio.
Well, thank you very much. Good to be here.
Yeah, on this final Monday's edition.
Monday.
How do you feel about that? You all right?
It's a little sad. This is a pretty good radio show.
I agree. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for being a part of it. And yeah, I mean, wait a minute. Now I'm getting sad. Oh no! Lone tear. The lone tear is dropping.
Yeah, I can see it dropping down there. Yeah,
it's actually sweat. Because I was sweating so much today. Man, we both...
It is a hot one.
We were talking before the segment. We both had class today. Mm-hmm. And Chris got to experience extreme air conditioning.
Yes.
And I got to experience none. So thus I'm going like short sleeve t-shirt and open collar. It was a little tough this morning.
Yeah, it's the question, do you prefer being frozen in the classroom or boiling?
I think I would go with frozen. Well, you know, because at least you can kind of move and like, you know, just keep rubbing your hands and like walking around the classroom. Maybe inspires movement.
Yeah, that is true.
Right?
At least keeps the students awake.
Right. Yeah. That too. Yeah, my students were like, oh, you know, they were struggling. And I was like, I just want to sit down in a corner. Yeah. I tried opening the windows and the doors. Didn't help much.
Didn't help? No.
Nah, not so much. By the way, I wanted to ask you this as well. Have you experienced being a leader?
Other than being a teacher?
Other than being, yeah, interesting.
Teaching is leading, but I also have other ones. Like I guess about 5, 6, maybe 7 years. I
quite a while ago.
It doesn't feel like a while ago. I directed the Midsummer Night's Dream here that we did with the Busan English Theater Association when we were still going on.
So you were the director?
I was the director. And
That's definitely the leader.
Definitely the leader. We had a whole bunch of people there. We did a performance up at Dalmaji Theater. It was really a nice little thing. Got lots of compliments, lots of good actors, good times. So,
did you do it in midsummer?
almost midsummer.
Okay, because that's like the title.
We
right?
did it.
Midsummer Night's
We
Dream.
did it in June.
Oh,
So,
okay. I mean,
beginning summer.
there you go. Beginning summer Night's Dream. Did you
Yes.
do it at night?
No,
Daytime.
unfortunately, it was in the daytime.
Okay.
We
'Cause
did it. We did it semi true to Shakespeare with no lights, no amplification.
Cool.
Just out there for a couple hours.
Right.
Yeah, just
And-
enjoying yourselves.
As I recall, the Dalmaji, there's like a mini theater with a mini band shell.
Yes.
So it will like naturally amplify. I guess that's not natural. It's a man-made construction. All right.
But it will, like, you can hear the people and you can hear the people talking in
Right.
the amphitheater.
Right.
The only trouble is we had a whole bunch of old men who just ignored that there was a performance going on.
You had some competition.
Yeah.
That sounds like Shakespeare's day, actually. That's probably what it was
so.
like.
Yes.
Right?
Lots of shouting, lots of noise.
Those ruffians. Exactly. Well, cool. All right. So how was that experience for you? Did you enjoy being a director?
Yes and no. It was really good. I got to meet lots of people, got to hang out with people, but there's a conflict that gets built in, and like if you get in personality troubles with people, it can be rather difficult. So
This is exactly what I mean. That's why it's not easy being a leader,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes you have different personalities to deal with, and then when conflict arises, it becomes your job to squash it, right? Or quash even. Well, but we're here for Need to Know because this is our last Need to Know segment for for the 2 p.m. reboot. Okay. Hold on, let me get my tear out of my eye. So what are we going to talk about today?
so question for you.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite festival?
Like any kind of festival?
Any kind of festival.
Busan International Film Festival.
That is a good one.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
favorite.
Where I grew up, there was a festival we had called the Grape Jamboree.
That sounds very different than the Busan International Film Festival.
Very different. There were no famous people. It basically celebrates the grape harvest in Northeast Ohio.
Really?
And it happens every year and is your typical American festival with parades, food stalls selling mostly deep fried food.
Those elephant ear things?
Oh, delicious.
Look
funnel
it up
cake.
if you don't know what we're
Yeah.
talking about.
It has a beauty pageant, but like a lot of these type of festivals, it has special events. Like they had a grape pie eating contest or grape stomping. Lots of fun. These special events really help make the festival stand out.
Right.
Like there are lots of events like this. Like you can have like the mud pits at the Boryang Mud Festival or the reenactment of the Battle of Hansung and Tonyang.
Really?
And these things really make the festivals unique. So what event do you think is the key event to the Tamatia Festival that took place last week in Bunhol, Spain?
Oh, that's the tomato one.
Yep.
Right. So the big thing of that one is you throw tomatoes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And it looks bloody.
It does look bloody.
It looks bloody.
This year, around 22,000 participants wearing white clothes engaged in a battle royale that involved throwing overripe tomatoes at each other last week, Wednesday.
So they actually do typically try to give you the overripe variety.
The overripe variety, yeah.
Oh, because those will explode.
Yeah, that makes it more fun. And this happens every year in the last week of August in Bunol, which is located around 40 kilometers west of Valencia.
I know about Valencia oranges. Is that possibly the same thing, or is that Valencia, Florida? I don't know.
I'm not sure
Valencia
about that
oranges. But okay, that sounds like a ton of people. And if you got 22,000 participants, you can't just limit it to like one tomato each, right? That would be unfair.
Yeah, it would be unfair. I think 150 tons of ripe pear tomatoes.
Oh my goodness.
And they're distributed with 7 trucks that drive around the festival site and dump them before the participants run in and share them with each other.
Share as in here. Blah.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun. Would you ever participate in that? Or
I would actually love to.
Me too.
Yeah.
I actually did in high school something very similar outside. It turned into like a food war, unintentional. It wasn't a festival. It just happened. So I'm curious though, because our high school festival was interrupted after 10 or 15 minutes by the authorities. How long do they actually throw them for?
It's for about an hour. The start time changes every year because there's a little challenge at the beginning.
Okay.
The organizers put up a pole with a ham. Well,
What?
It sounds weird.
Okay.
But they put a cured pig's leg, a leg of ham at the
Right.
top. And the festival starts when somebody can climb up the pole and grab it. Now,
How do these things get started? You know?
there's a long history to them. And this one sounds easy, but the pole is lathered with soap, so climbing it can be a bit tricky.
You think you're going to get that ham?
Yeah, you think you're going to get it. I watched a video of it, and people kept slipping off for about an hour,
Wow.
maybe two. But once the ham is retrieved, organizers set off a firecracker to let everybody know that the event has started.
So that's one of those things like you have to know, like you're going to have to set aside your day. If you want to participate in that, we can't get this thing started until somebody grabs that ham.
Or learn how to climb a pole with
Practice.
Practice climbing the lathered pole.
Right. All right. There's not enough soap on that pole. I can't imagine why they came up with that. But okay. So, all right. You got people who have been waiting for this ham to be grabbed.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, finally get the chance to throw these tomatoes at each other. This must really be difficult to stop people after an hour.
Well, yeah, but what's one of the rules? Imagine that after an hour, a cleaning crew comes along with water hoses to remove anything from the streets.
Including people?
Yeah, wash them. Fun fact about this, the acidity of the tomatoes actually helps clean the street, so the place is cleaner than it otherwise would be.
This works with pots and pans, by the way. If you have an issue, if you're cooking meat and you add tomato to the dish, it makes it easier to clean up afterwards. It's a real thing. I guess it's the acidity, right?
Yep.
All right, so I do have to know, how did they actually get started doing this the first time?
Well, the festival started in about 1945, but it's been going on continually for about 60 years.
Okay.
In 1945, during a parade, some youth knocked over one of the participants while trying to get a better look at the event, and
Okay.
Well, they weren't happy about this, so several people took tomatoes from nearby stalls and just started throwing them until the police stepped in.
Wow.
And then, well, youth being youth, they thought it was fun, so
Yes.
they did
Yes,
it the
they would.
next year. And they tried to do it year in, year out, but in the 1950s it was outlawed.
Right.
Until 1959, when the festival resumed with certain rules for safety.
Because they were like, we can't hold people back from doing this, apparently.
Well,
Like, people
yeah,
just want
They kept doing it, couldn't stop them, so
Right.
they were like, well, if you're going to do it, got to be safe about it.
So, all right. So how did they determine, like, what would be safe? What kind of rules?
Well, it's the fairly common sense rules. There are about 10 of them on their website. Don't throw anything except tomatoes. Don't tear people's clothes. Squash the tomatoes before throwing them.
Okay.
Keep a safe distance from the truck. Stop throwing the tomatoes at the second signal and other things like that.
Okay. So it's the commandments of Tomatina.
Yeah.
So basically 10 rules. And I'm assuming all of these rules came out because somebody violated one of these things or.
Like most rules, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So it does seem like a waste of food, right?
Yeah, I thought so too, but apart from the tourism money that really brings in and the fun for the town, the tomatoes they use are specifically grown for the festival, and they're a type of tomatoes that people can't really eat because it's too sour.
Oh, so get rid of them then.
Yeah, so instead of, just letting them grow and waste in the field, they throw them at other people.
There you go. You know what? That actually sounds like a reasonable thing to do. All right. I tell you what, Chris, we're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to Maps by Maroon 5, and then we'll be back with more Need to Know.
I miss the taste of a sweet.
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. That song was Maps by Maroon 5. And before the song break, we were talking with Chris about the La Tomatina, I believe it's called, right?
Yeah.
In Spain. So unfortunately, Spain's a little bit far away. So we'll have to plan that for another day, right? There's no tomato festival closer, is there?
There's actually one that happens at the beginning of August in Huachan. It's the Huachan Tomato Festival, and it's held every August. And it's a little bit different. They do throw tomatoes at you while you try and find a gold ring.
Right. So we were talking during the break about it. So it's kind of like Lord of the Rings plus La Tomatina, right?
Yeah.
Only one person can hold the ring.
Yes.
And once they get the ring, the event is over.
I am not sure. I'll have to go next year and
Right.
let you know.
It was the beginning of August this year, right?
Yeah.
So if you're interested in La Tomatina, you can try it out a little bit closer to home in Huachan in 2025. You just got to get that ring.
Yeah.
What's our next story going to be?
Well, how good are you at dancing?
Well, terrible. I think I'm actually like not too bad, but I've had friends tell me like, "Oh, you're bad."
Yeah, you should take some lessons. Before I moved
I've thought about it.
Before I moved to Korea, I couldn't dance either, and I wasn't really interested in K-pop dancing, so
Okay.
I didn't think I would take many lessons here. But I was shocked by how many Koreans learn different styles of music.
Really?
Particularly Latin styles of music and salsa, tango.
Okay.
I shouldn't have been surprised since these dances from Latin America are popular around the world.
Sure.
People flock to Cuba and Argentina to dance them and take part in competitions. And last week was the final week of the Buenos Aires Tango Festival and Competition, which drew over 10,000 spectators to its closing night on last Tuesday.
So for a closing night, that sounds pretty good to me. 10,000 people.
10,000 people.
Right? So why would they show up? What's so special about the Buenos Aires Tango Festival and Competition?
Well, it's an annual festival that's held in Buenos Aires, Argentina, for about 2 weeks.
Okay.
The festival itself celebrates the Argentine tango and has events all over town. Things like book launches, tango events for children, dances, music productions, and shows performed by famous artists.
Cool.
And at its center, it has a tango competition which draws people from all over the world to participate.
And I was just thinking about Argentinian wine, too. I bet that's part. I'm sure they have plenty of that for
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
So where do people actually come from?
This year, couples came from 53 countries. The dancers really do come from all over, including South Korea. But other countries include Italy, Japan, Russia, and Ukraine.
Wow. So how many people, I guess it's couples that participate in the tango, right? So how many couples actually participated this year?
So this year there was a record, 750 couples dancing.
Wow.
The competition showcased the universal appeal of the dance, which originated amongst sailors and immigrants in the ports of Argentina and Uruguay around the early 1900s.
That's an interesting origin.
Yeah. The competition itself consists of two categories. There is the Tango de Pista, or Salon Tango, which has strict rules and dance elements. This is what you traditionally think of when you think of people dancing in a ballroom.
Okay.
And the Tango Escenario, or stage tango, which is more choreographic and can include elements of other styles of dance like ballet.
So a little more free-ish.
Free-ish and more choreographed.
Right. Yeah. So more technical, more difficult sounding, actually, probably
yeah.
right? So can just anybody join the competition?
Well, anybody can join, but it's not show up at the venue and participate.
Don't drink wine and be like, I can do that.
Yeah. To compete, the couples have to pass pre-competitions, which are held around the world starting in March. Traditionally, cities in Argentina select their municipal champions who get wild cards to the final rounds.
Okay.
These wild cards are also given to the national or regional champions of recognized international competitions. But if you are interested and you haven't received a wild card, you can still register online, but you have to go through participate in the qualifying rounds.
So that meant that somebody qualified from Korea this year, right?
Yep. That's what we have. We've got Korea actually has a Tango Championship, and it's held every year in Seoul.
No kidding.
This year it was held in January, and they selected 3 couples who went on to the Pacific Tango Championship, as well as other ones, including this one. Other festivals in Korea include the Seoul Tango Festival, which is held in March, and the Jeju Samolonga, I'm pronouncing that right, and the Busan Tango Marathon that happens every year in June.
Oh, no kidding. So right down here, too, in Busan. Check it out. Can you actually win anything if you do do well?
At the Argentine one, yeah, there are trophies and recognition, but there's also a cash prize of about 8,000 US dollars, which is about 10 million Korean won.
Hey, now, that's not bad.
Not bad, nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, I would take that. Tango practice. All right. Well, who actually won this year? Anybody from Korea?
Unfortunately, not this year. The top honors went to two Argentinian couples. The first one for Eileen Moriando and Sebastian Martinez. They won in the stage category, and Bueno Marquez and Fatima Kakaruch winning the salon category.
Wow.
Moriando told reporters that this was years and years of effort, of work, of dreaming, and not giving up. And it's not always couples from Argentina that win.
I was going to say, that's not fair.
Yeah, it's not fair. But previous countries that have won include Colombia, Russia, Uruguay, and Japan.
Okay, so it is possible to win even if you're not from Argentina.
Yeah.
Very cool. So this is something you're thinking about for the future?
To join tango?
Tango?
No, I've been doing salsa, so I have to learn tango first.
Okay. Would you be interested?
It is something that is very fun. There's lots of things. One thing about tango is that it unifies people, and one of the participants said that it unifies everything. In times of global division, what is better than embracing one another? There's just something about dance that really does bring people together.
I think I completely agree with that, because even if when you're like dancing, and maybe that's why there was such a reaction to breakdancing joining the Olympics this year, both positive and negative. I heard reactions from both sides.
And negative.
Right?
Yeah.
But, still, like just the fact that, I don't know, something about when you dance either with somebody or by yourself, in a group, it is something unifying for sure.
There's something
right?
quite nice, quite unifying.
Yeah.
You don't see any divisions when you're dancing.
Right? That's right. So give breakdancing a chance. Right? And salsa, keep it going. Maybe you can teach me.
Yeah.
You think?
Anytime. There are lots of salsa clubs here, so head on down, as well as tango clubs.
Awesome. So if you didn't know that, Busan is full of salsa and tango clubs. So check that out if you're in the Busan area. Chris, thanks so much for coming in every Monday for Need to Know, and it's been a pleasure working with you.
It's been a pleasure. I hope that you have a good time, whatever you do next.
Yeah, this is going to be a busy semester for sure. So, all right, we're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to When You Know Someone by Valley, and we'll be back at 3 p.m.
Your Bridge to the World. BEFM 부산 영어방송.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전 기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
부산영어방송과 함께하는 제2회 중구청장배 청소년 영어 말하기 대회. 나의 롤모델을 소개합니다. We all need someone who inspires to do better than we know how. We envision our dreams and live by striving to achieve them. Along the way, we discover our role models we aspire to follow. How about you? Do you have your own role model? 글로벌 허브 도시 부산에 살고 있는 아이들이 꿈꾸는 롤모델은 어떤 모습일까요? We can look at the dreams of Busan's local youth and find out how they dream about their role model in the speech contest. 9월 7일 토요일 오전 11시 부산 영화체험박물관에서 펼쳐질 청소년 영어 말하기 대회에서 부산 지역 꿈나무들이 꿈꾸는 미래의 모습을 확인해보세요. 제2회 중구청장배 청소년 영어 말하기 대회는 중구 진로교육지원센터와 BFM 부산영어방송이 함께합니다.
The time is now 3 o'clock.
Hey, I heard you are a wild one. proud.
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. That song was Wild Ones by Flo Rida and Sia to kick off the second hour of the show. And Sia actually wrote that song in 15 minutes. That's pretty quick, right? But then she had to be persuaded to record the vocal, as she'd actually originally just intended to be concentrating on songwriting. She said, they asked me to record Wild Ones over and over for almost 6 months. Eventually I said, okay, but don't put my name on it. And then she was credited as a featured artist, which made her a little bit upset with her manager, Jonathan Daniel. Sia said, I was angry because we already had this discussion. Jonathan said to me, I don't think I really believe that you didn't want to be credited or get the recognition you deserve. Well, maybe she didn't want it, because in a 2015 interview, that is, Sia called this song 100% cheese and explained that while it helped launch her career as a hit songwriter, it was not something she would record herself. So interesting. She was like, this is good enough for me to write, but I don't want to put my name on it. Very, very interesting how it works with artists sometimes, right? You're listening to us here in the studio in Busan on this Monday afternoon. We're coming to you from BEFM 90.5 here in Busan and 103.3 FM in Gijang, Jeongwon, and Noksan areas. In Seoul, we're on TBS EFM 101.3 FM, and in Gwangju, we're broadcasting on GGN 98.7 FM. And thanks for joining us wherever you might be today. No matter what the weather scene is, we're getting the cloudy weather over here for sure. Still feels hot the last time I went outside. But I got a message from Choi Hee-suk Nim who says, it's cool today. I feel fall is with us. Wow, really? I wish. I'm jealous of that. I did not feel fall at all today, but perhaps that will change when I step outside a little later. It looks like it's definitely not as hot as it was earlier today. Choi Hee-suk also saying, I was once the leader of an English class, and it was the first and the last experience of doing that. Was it a good experience then? Because, sometimes first and last could be, just a pleasant experience. Like, oh, that was cool. I enjoyed that. Or sometimes you have an experience, you're like, I will never do that again. So let me know. Was it a good experience for you? I didn't really think about it, but Chris made that point when he was in here for Need to Know earlier that, yes, teachers are leaders. And I was like, am I a leader in my classroom? I feel like I'm a facilitator. Sometimes I do try to lead discussions or, lead people towards coming to certain conclusions. Or if it's a language class, I guess I'm leading them to perhaps improving their skills. But yeah, I don't know. I never really thought of myself as a leader, as a teacher. But yeah, I guess you are, right? And it can be a little bit of pressure for sure. But I enjoy teaching. It's one of those jobs that I think I'm actually good at, which is nice to have. It's good to know that you're good at something, or at least think you are, right? I do want to let you know, there's an announcement I feel like I should share, just to let you know. The 2 p.m. Reboot will only air until September 8th, which is this Sunday. That means the program is only going to be on for 6 more days. Beginning on September 9th, there will be a new program launching after the fall change of season here at BEFM. So once again, September 6th, this Friday, will be the last live show, and September 8th on Sunday will be the last highlight show for the 2 p.m. Reboot. So I just wanted to kind of give you some advance notice so you're not surprised when I'm telling you on Friday, okay, goodbye. I just want to let you know, thanks for listening, and I've enjoyed spending the summer with you. I hope you enjoyed spending it with me as well, because, it's been a good time. Definitely enjoyed it here. And just because it's the last week doesn't mean we're stopping what we're doing. We've got a lot still left on the show for you today. In hour number 2, we're going to do our daily list. And this list today will feature business leaders who changed the world. Some of these names I think you know, and some of these might be a little bit unfamiliar. So we'll see. And you can let me know if you have opinions on them as well. I certainly have opinions on more than a couple of them. Good opinions only, I promise. Also, in hour number 2, we're going to talk about why people are so resistant to change in the segment Me, Myself, and I. We do this segment every Monday and talk about human behavior, why we do what we do. And the topic today is why people are so reluctant to change. Because, you know what? This is a big time of change for a lot of people. The beginning of September means going back to school for many, and for those in the education business, that means going back to work as well as going back to school, right? So this is a big time for change as well. And we've got a big holiday coming up, right? And the change of seasons, all that's going to come up soon. So, however, there's something about us as humans that makes us kind of naturally resistant to change. So we're going to look at that and see if there's anything we can do about that. And at the end of the show, we're going to have our perfect playlist. We do this every week. We come up with a new theme for you and pick the best songs for that theme. This week, you might need a little help. So we've got songs to motivate you for the new semester in the perfect playlist today. And I will be checking your messages throughout the show, so feel free to send me a message here. Choi Hisugnim giving me an update about being a teacher and saying, I'm not cut out for that. Okay, you know what? Fair enough. Sometimes you try something and you're like, not for me. I completely relate. I think me and the service industry are no longer going to be a thing. I worked at restaurants throughout high school and into university. Not my thing. I just can't do it anymore. I don't know. Some people can do it. Some people have great personalities for that. I am not one of them. So I completely understand. Let's see. Another message from Jogum Tong Nim who says, I came to know about this show only 2 weeks ago, but appreciate the wide variety of music played here. Oh, thumbs up to that Na PD Nim. Casey's inquisitive mind and comments. Oh, 감사합니다. And this is one really intensively structured show. Cool. During the music breaks, I see this image, and we're talking about the NawTube streaming here, with the finger heart. I can't make out the face, but I assume it's Casey. Did someone force you to pose like that? I was not forced to do the finger and heart thing. I think it was just a mere suggestion, and sure, I have emotions. I am well capable of putting my heart on display for you. I'll do it right now, in fact. Because I love you guys. Oh, it's a love fest today on this Monday. If you'd like to send us a message, you can reach us here at 샵9050 or pound 9050 for 101. You could reach us for free on Kakao Talk or our very own smartphone app. If you search BEFM or 부산영어방송 in Kakao Talk, you can add us. You can see us there, add us, and send us messages that way. You can do the same search for the App Store on your phone. Doesn't matter what App Store, doesn't matter what phone. Just search BEFM or 부산영어방송. You can download the app and you can take us wherever you want to go. Listen to us on the subway, listen to us on the bus, go for a stroll in the somewhat slightly cooler, perhaps, weather we have today. And you can also log in there and leave us comments as well. And you can message us on the NawTube chat as well. Just go to youtube.com, search BEFM 부산영어방송. You'll find us right there in my very... What is this? Paisley? No, what word am I looking for? It's like a pale blue, powder blue. My powder blue shirt today. It's going to highlight my baby blue eyes. That's what it's for. We're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to the song I've Got You Under My Skin by Nene Cherry, and then we'll be back with today's Daily List. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just heard the song I've Got You Under My Skin by Swedish artist Nene Cherry. I was learning so much about her during the break there. I had no idea. Very cool. Now, right now, though, it's time for our daily list. And today's daily list, we're going to feature business leaders who changed the world because, face it, without a good leader, any company can just come and go because it's not that easy to last that long in the business world. And you know what? If you got a great leader, they might have the ability to motivate employees and to help others see and believe in a vision and also lead innovation in a company, which if you want to survive over the long term, you need all of that. So today we're going to go we'll go in sequential order. We'll count up. We're going to go 10 business leaders who changed the world. Number 1 on the list, Reshma Saujani is the founder of Girls Who Code, which is a group that promotes technology training, specifically coding, thus the name Girls Who Code, and to who? To girls. She's an American lawyer and politician. Her company, Girls Who Code, has camps set up in 42 states with over 10,000 girls attending, and she has been a leader in empowering women in the workplace. And don't be under any illusions. Illusions is the word I'm looking for. Like many workplaces, there needs to be equality in the tech world as well. So very cool business leader, Reshma Saujani. Cool. Number 2 on the list, Tim Cook. If you haven't heard his name before, he's the CEO of the most valuable company in the world. Might be number 2 now, actually. But okay, it's still a very valuable company in the world. It's called Apple. He took over the company after the company's founder, Steve Jobs, succumbed to cancer in 2011. And at the time, a lot of people were worried, would Tim Cook be able to pull off what Steve Jobs did? But Cook has helped navigate Apple through the transition after Jobs' death, as well as developing new product lines and opening retail stores in China. And the company seems to be doing pretty well under his leadership. So there you go. That's a testimony to his leadership skills right there. Number 3 on the list is Sheryl Sandberg. Sheryl Sandberg has served as the chief operating officer of Facebook from 2008 to 2022. That's a pretty long run. She founded a nonprofit called Lean In, named after her best-selling book. She's been an influential advocate for women in the business world, and she has made the successful transition from government work at the Treasury Department to the tech industry at big tech companies like Google and Facebook as well. So obviously doing good wherever she goes, and that's not easy to go from one kind of work to another and succeed as a leader in both cases. So very good. Well done there. Number 4 on the list is Bob Iger. Iger is the executive chairman and former CEO of the Disney Corporation. He's led the acquisitions of major companies like Marvel, Pixar, and more recently, Lucasfilms. And his leadership has also led to the expansion of theme parks by Disney into Shanghai and Hong Kong. And obviously, that company is doing fairly well, so he must be a good leader as well, for sure. Number 5 on the list, Reed Hastings is the co-founder and CEO of Netflix. What originally started as a no late fees, no due date subscription service soon transitioned into online streaming. I remember that way back when. And that online streaming part of the business actually shook the very foundation of digital entertainment. In addition, Hastings constantly uses his position of influence to promote change and reform in the California State Board of Education and through charter schools. So trying to pass on what he's gained from his own business success to others as well. And that's always the sign of a good leader as well, when you want to share not just for your own success, but for other people's as well. We're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to Don't Worry, and we'll be right back with more of the Daily List.
In no time.
Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just heard the song Don't Worry by Kim Appleby. And now we're back with our daily list of 10 business leaders who changed the world. For 1 through 5, we talked about people from all kinds of different businesses, including technology, especially technology and entertainment. Number 6 actually brings us to a different part of business. Mary Barra is the chairman and CEO of General Motors Company, which is a car company, obviously. Prior to her joining the company in 2014 as this chairman and CEO, she served as the executive vice president of global product development, purchasing, and supply chain there at the company. So she's been with them for quite a while, experienced many parts of the business, and she's currently actually trying to get space for the company in the electric automobile market. And in 2016, she launched an EV that has a battery that actually outlasted, at the time, rival Tesla. And as of late 2017, Barrow was elected to the board at Disney with high regards from Robert Iger. So obviously, she's being sought out by other companies for her input and influence as well. So very good. Number 7 on the list, Bill Gates. He actually founded Microsoft, which is the world's largest PC software company, and each year he is consistently near the top of the list of the world's wealthiest people, obviously doing well for himself. Over the years, Gates has slowly transitioned away from the company and into philanthropic, there it is, that's the word I'm looking for, philanthropic ventures, helping people. Easy word, helping people. His foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, is working to provide clean water and sanitation, among other things, to third world countries. So like Warren Buffett, who's coming up as well on the list, Gates has promised to leave the vast majority of his wealth to charity when he is no longer on Earth. So there you go. That's something that a lot of people might not find easy to do, right? You've worked all your life to build this wealth, and then you're like, no, when I'm gone, I won't need it. I'm going to give it to people who do. That's pretty cool. And that brings me to number 8 on the list. I just mentioned his name, Warren Buffett. This name, I don't know if you know unless you're in the stock market, because he is definitely a big name in that industry. He is one of the most successful investors in the world. Some people have referred to him as the Oracle of Omaha because he was born in Omaha, Nebraska, and is consistently named as one of the wealthiest people in the world. He is currently the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, which is a company that has been doing well under his tenureship. And he also, as I just mentioned about Bill Gates, has pledged to give away nearly 99% of his accumulated wealth to philanthropic causes after his death. I wonder how the family feels about that, right? You know, like, okay, Dad, yeah, that's the right choice for the rest of the people in the world. Yes, we agree. You can't say no to that, right? You can't disagree. It's his money. He earned it, right? In theory. So yes, Warren Buffett, number 8 on the list. Number 9 on the list is Jeff Weiner, who is the CEO of LinkedIn. Although the company was founded in 2002, it was under Weiner's leadership that LinkedIn completed its IPO, or initial public offering, right? Basically went public and became one of the most used social media platforms in the world. And Weiner is also extremely active in nonprofits as well, sitting on the board of directors of DonorsChoose.org and Malaria No More, which obviously are good causes to get behind. So another example of somebody trying to use their influence to do other good things in the world, not just for business purposes. Number 10 on the list is Jeff Bezos. Bezos is the founder of the mega corporation Amazon. It started as an online bookstore and is now the world's largest online sales company. For 4 years, from 2017 to 2021, Bezos was the wealthiest person in the world. And as of 2021, he stepped down as CEO and moved to an executive chairman position. And now he mostly makes headlines for being on rocket ships, I think, right? He spends a lot of time interested in space travel and making that a reality for people as well, you know, access to space. So a lot of people interested in what his endeavors will be in that as well. These are today's daily list, business leaders who changed the world. Very cool. So it's a very diverse list of people there from different industries and different backgrounds. And all definitely names you'll probably hear again for sure. We're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to She Works Hard for the Money by Donna Summer, and we'll be back with Me, Myself, and I. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just heard the song She Works Hard for the Money by Donna Summer. And now it is time for Me, Myself, and I. And we do this every Monday. We talk about why people do the things we do, right? And also things about well-being from the world of health and psychology. And this will be, of course, our final Me, Myself, and I. So this one, interesting topic, interesting timing. Why are people so resistant to change? And this advice and observation comes from Ronald E. Riggio, who's a doctor, a PhD, and who has studied this kind of phenomenon as a psychologist as well. And one of the strongest psychological forces that we have as people is resistance to change. It could be a change they're having at work. Perhaps it's a new boss or a new way of doing things. It could also be just like personal changes, maybe changes that you need to make and can't, such as needing to exercise to lose weight or to improve your health. I have a hard time with that too. I hate exercise. There seems to be some natural tendency to resist any sort of change, and psychologists have studied why for decades. And there's actually entire disciplines devoted to helping organizations and the people in those organizations prepare for and manage change in the workplace. So that kind of shows you right there, there's a need for it, right? And there are actually 5 reasons we're going to talk about that why people seem to be so resistant to change, and also some strategies to help overcome the resistance to change as well. So we're going to talk about 5 different ones. We're going to count up. I like counting up today. Number 1. One reason people are resistant to change is fear of the unknown. Because anytime you have change, there's also a certain level of uncertainty that comes with it. And as a result, people kind of shy away from it because they're fearful or anxious about what the result might be. We don't know, right? That's why it's very important to inform people about the benefits and drawbacks associated with any planned change, because typically there'll be both, right? There'll be some positive part of it, and there'll be some negative aspect to it as well. And if people at least know what to expect, that will alleviate some of that fear. And you want that information to be both clear and credible. You know, you don't just make up stuff. You want people to trust that the information you're giving them is useful and also true. Otherwise, they won't trust that either. So yes, and a big issue with people not wanting to change, fear of the unknown. Number 2, the moral force. And this one takes a little bit of explanation, because what do we mean by moral? A lot of times moral means the correct or proper or right way to do things. And this feeling comes about because we as humans kind of become set in our routines, and that leads us to resist change because we kind of believe that the way we do things and have done things is the right way, or the best way, or the correct way, or the way we should be doing things, and thus, if it's working, don't change it. So according to noted psychologist Howard S. Friedman, he called this the moral force because people cling strongly to the familiar, what has been tried and true, what is familiar and comfortable, because it, in our minds, becomes morally correct. In other words, if it's working, it's intended to be this way. So it's a little bit difficult to combat this moral force, but the best way to do it is to provide that, perhaps if we're looking at a new way of doing things, for example, show evidence that it's better. So an example that's been mentioned of this is if you have workers who have new technology to deal with at work, and they're kind of resistant to that. So you can put on a demonstration where you show the old way of doing things and the new way of doing things with some new technology. And when they can actually see it for themselves working out better, perhaps as saving time or safety reasons, even the skeptics will be convinced. So sometimes seeing is believing, and that's kind of the only way you can get around this idea of the moral force. Number 3 on the list is fear of failure. Got this one myself. I think this is one a lot of us might have. Fear of failure is another reason people are resistant to change, because if you change, there might be failure. Or could something, you're doing something different, it could even lead to disaster, right? We can kind of amp these things up in our minds and make them bigger than they can even possibly be. We're very creative when it comes to negativity. An example given for this was electric vehicles. And this is something a lot of people have a fear about. The author of this mentioned that a good friend was offered the opportunity to change his company car from a gas-powered traditional internal combustion engine car to an electric vehicle. And this person resisted the change because he feared the car's battery would run down and strand him somewhere. And the person said, well, how about your current car? Can it run out of gas as well? And why not have a simple solution? Just kind of plan ahead to avoid the problem. And the friend said, well, I'm still afraid it will happen. So even if you provide assurances that a worst case scenario is unlikely, it still might be a little bit tough to convince people, but it is the best way to help people overcome their fear of failure, confront them with reality and statistics if possible, right? So a lot of people kind of facing that fear about electric vehicles as well. That's a common fear that people talk about for the reason they don't want to buy them. They're afraid of them running out and being stranded. But the same thing could happen with a gas-powered car as well. Right. And I guess it comes down to infrastructure as well, right? Number 4 on the list, apathy. Sometimes people are just resistant to change because change takes effort. You might have to learn some new procedure or adapt to changes that actually take some effort to, get used to. Even when the outcome of the change might be a desirable outcome, people will say, it's not worth it. It's not worth all the effort. So you have to find a way to motivate people in that case. This is the only way to kind of overcome change-related apathy. So focusing on the desirable outcomes of a change process can help give people incentives and motivate them to actually be like, all right, this is something worth doing. Number 5 is lack of faith in change makers. And this is something we can see especially, it seems like the way things go with the media these days. There's a lot of lack of faith in media and organizations, whether that be big ones to like entire governments or whether it's, the companies that people work for. There's kind of, at an organizational level, people resist change because they're wary of the change and they're wary of those people that are advocating the change. They may doubt the knowledge and credentials of the change makers. Want proof of this? Well, think about the COVID-19 pandemic and the vaccinations. There were a lot of people who said the vaccines, the science behind them was flawed, or that the drug companies and governments had ulterior motives, and that led to people not wanting to receive the vaccines, right? And unnecessarily, a lot of people were sick or worse because of that. And the leadership lesson for change makers is, first, you have to establish credibility, to be as transparent as possible, be clear about the benefits and potential risks associated with any kind of change, and that will hopefully provide a good rationale for why people should change. And then you'll have to kind of monitor the change process and provide support along the way. So it takes a lot of effort, and thus why number 4, the apathy one, was a little bit hard to deal with as well. Because in that kind of situation, you're talking about changing lifestyles when it came to the pandemic, right? And yes, you had to convince a lot of people it was worth doing. So that is our lesson, 5 reasons why people are so resistant to change, and definitely something I think we can learn from. A message from Lee Kelly Nim, who says, I'm not afraid of failure. Failure teaches us a lot. I think I'm more afraid of not being able to bounce back from failure. And fortunately, that's never been an issue yet. But that's also, that's key. I think that's why people are so afraid of failure, is because they're afraid that it will be a complete disaster. Not just like a temporary setback. It's like, oh man, this may be something I can never recover from. But in that case, the best way to kind of convince people that change is the right way to go forward is to provide them with like evidence or examples that people have made these changes and have been successful. And if they aren't successful, there are things that you can find for support to work yourself through it, right? So even if if change doesn't go as well as you anticipated, there are people who are willing to support you or will support you in that case as well. So yes, it's kind of like a lot of it is reassurance, right? Basically, a lot of it boils down to that. Transparency, reassurance, I think that's the best way to kind of convince people that change is good. So that's going to do it for today's Me, Myself, and I, and thank you for the message there. We're going to take a quick song break. We're going to listen to, of course, we're going to listen to a song called Changes by Empire of the Sun, and then we'll be back with our perfect playlist. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just heard the song Changes by Empire of the Sun. And now it is time for today's perfect playlist. Our theme this week is songs about motivation for the new semester because, you know what, it's that time of year. It's the beginning of September and people have to adjust to, the classes again, the new curriculum, a lot of new workloads. Students can become overwhelmed and also find it difficult to keep up with everything that's going on in the new semester. But with the right playlist, we can change your mindset, right? Let's keep it positive. Well, that's what we're going to do this week. So we're going to play 2 songs every day on the theme of songs for motivation for the new semester. And our first song is On Top of the World by Imagine Dragons. It's got an upbeat tempo. It's got a strong, invigorating message. This classic song by Imagine Dragons is definitely designed to put you in a better mood. You probably can't listen to this song without feeling a new sense of kind of confidence and elation and hopefully the push to keep you going because the semester's just starting, right? So we got to go through it. Our second song today is Shake It Off by Taylor Swift. And a lot of songs provide the momentum to keep working, and that is definitely important, but it's also necessary to give yourself a break and to be forgiving if you make mistakes along the way because, face it, we all do, right? This song, Shake It Off, provides a nice rest where you can kind of forget the past and look forward to a fresh future. Think of it as a mental rest that you can enjoy during this song. So our 2 songs for today's perfect playlist. First up, On Top of the World by Imagine Dragons, followed by Shake It Off by Taylor Swift. Welcome back to the 2 p.m. Reboot. You just heard the song Shake It Off by Taylor Swift, and before that was On Top of the World by Imagine Dragons. And that's going to do it for today's perfect playlist. And thank you for all the messages today. One more I want to share from 1437M who says, this is, I guess, continuing the nice words for the last week of the show. 1437M says, plus your irresistible humor. I guess this is include to being me also being warm-hearted and humble. Wow. So many kind compliments today. I appreciate it. They're all H. Hearted, humor, humble. 좋습니다. So 1437M says, compared to other shows broadcasting in Korea, including BEFM, you speak a normal speed of native speakers of English, which helps me a lot to polish my English. I like that too. I wish I could say it's on purpose. I grew up in Long Island, New York. I don't know how to speak slowly. I'm sorry. So I apologize to all my students out there too. I always tell them, just say, hey, can you speak slowly, please? 어렵습니다. Yeah. So thank you very much for the compliments. Thanks so much for all the messages today. We're going to end the show right here because the time is up. But thank you so much for joining. I've been your host, Casey McKeever. We'll be back at 2:05 p.m. tomorrow. We're going to leave you one last song, Rock Around the Clock by Bill Haley and the Comets. Have a great one. Stay tuned for Your Busan.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock.